Well, hello, welcome to I Love Gay today. And we're in the world of auto racing today. And we are here in New York with Travis Shumake. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Matt?
Fantastic. It's kind of funny because people are going to be thinking to themselves, auto racing and a gay man. How does this all come together? This doesn't
In New
compute. But
York, right?
and in New York. But I think I think you're just one of many examples as far as I don't think everybody's always realized how completely diverse our community truly is.
Yeah, everyone's got a different hobby. Mine happens to be 300 miles an hour.
Is it a hobby or you want it to be a career?
I'm trying to make it a career. So I've been working on that for about a year now to make this my full-time gig. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, you've been doing this for a while, right? And I wrote down you are an unsponsored NHRA drag racer, and that's a whole world unto itself.
Yeah. So I guess to better explain, I'm sure people get it, but maybe they don't. So
Yeah.
drag racing, not RuPaul, two race cars going straight down a quarter-mile racetrack, about 300 miles an hour. I covered the quarter mile in just about 4 seconds or less. Two big parachutes out the back, big explosions often. So that's the sport of drag racing that I grew up in. My dad was a professional funny car driver, so that was kind of his lone career was this. So I grew up writing papers about wanting to be my dad, and did it. I raced competitive go-karts as a kid, so those like 100-mile-an-hour go-karts when I was 11 to 16, and my dad passed away when I was a teenager, right as I was coming out, and I shifted from motorsports to competitive cheerleading, which is quite the twist.
Yes.
Flip there, both cheerleading jokes there. So I did that forever, and then during the pandemic, as we all say, I realized I didn't want to make sourdough anymore. I wanted to go back to that dream of being a race car driver. So I've been licensing and testing and kind of traveling around the country, preparing for hopefully a full-time professional debut someday soon.
Yeah. Well, what you're doing is a little more near and dear to my heart than you would know, and that I'll reveal a couple things about myself that people don't know yet. So, number one, back in the '80s, I used to love my muscle cars. I had a '69 El Camino, and you name it. I had, for anybody that knows, Holly carburetor, Edelbrock manifolds. I was totally into this thing, and we used to go. I'm from LA. We used to go drag racing illegally at Dodger Stadium at night. We used to, not the way you would do it, but we would, in the muscle car world, and we would drag race, and we did it, and we all the time until finally the cops showed up one day, and I realized I can't be doing that anymore.
Did you win any pink slips? Right? That's the
people did that stuff, but no, I wasn't quite that crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, but no, that was my world, and the reality is that since then, being in this LGBT business world, I have actually met people along the way that have worked and had entire careers in that whole aftermarket automotive and in racing across all the boards. So it was just really amazing as you start to share stories. It's always funny that people don't realize that we're all out there.
That's been, I'd say, one of the cooler parts about this last year has been reconnecting with my father. So after he passed away, you think your dad. He's literally in a book. My sister wrote a book about him. And now you spend this year with people and they're, I drove with your dad from this race in Kansas to Phoenix, and this funny thing happened, and this happened at a rest stop. Or the other piece, you're at a racetrack, and actually I was at a race last fall in Reading, Pennsylvania. Yeah. And a guy came up to me and said, my husband and I have come to this race every year for 30 years. And I was just there as a fan. We know who you are, and we know what you're doing, and just thank you for being a part of this. And I'm like ugly crying at a drag strip. But those are the things you don't realize. You think that you're alone in a space like this, and you find out there's plenty of other supporters out there who probably know a lot more than I do about the sport, and just aren't trying to catch on fire and break their ribs, which I have already done in the sport.
Yeah. But no, it's interesting because, as you said, there are a lot of folks out there, but especially because of social media, over the last few years, I've come to know a group out of the UK, Racing Pride, and Charlie Martin, who was very prominent yesterday because she's a transgender auto racer in the UK, very visible. But when we were chatting earlier, you know those folks as well.
Yeah, so there's two NASCAR drivers are working their way up NASCAR circle tracks as I'm working my way up drag racing, and we had connected. And Richard and Charlie, the team in the UK, have done such a great job. We had reached out and said, can we sit with you guys? Can we franchise this out? So they actually expanded to North America in March, and so we are the first. There's a group of 5 of us drivers, which is cool. There's a Canadian female stunt driver. I'm the drag racer. We've got 2 NASCAR guys and some road course folk. Just trying to bring a little bit more visibility, but also to create a network where we can feel like I can text someone that I'm really annoyed that Coca-Cola never responded to me. Like, oh, me too. Like, so it's cool to have allies within our little pocket.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, in order to make this come together, you need to be able to find a sponsor. So we need to put that out there into the universe.
Yes.
That yes, that's what.
Please, if you want to get into motorsports, go to. No, I just say, yeah, I thought that would be something, and very naive of me, although I come from a fundraising background, that there would be a little bit of a stronger, quicker appetite for this, and from the corporate world, because a NASCAR team, for example, it costs $30 to $40 million a year. I spend $15,000 a race, which is a very small fraction of that. And there are 40 NASCAR teams. So we're talking about, almost obviously a $1 billion industry. I'm like, I could just get a sliver of that Skittles money. They have a Skittle, like that'd be the best joke. Why are we not? Nobody? Can I get it? It's not for a lack of trying. So I think hopefully I'll break in somewhere there. But over a year now, I've yet to have a corporate dollar thrown my way. But I've been cashing in my favors to all the college girls' weddings I've planned and all the people's child I'm their godparent. Can I get a quick personal loan? I promise this is going to work out if I could just get on the racetrack. So I think it'll come for me soon enough.
Well, you must be doing something right, because you've got I saw on your website you have a very full racing schedule this year.
Yeah, it's a dream to a goal, right? It's an aspirational schedule, but it is up to 22 races right now. So I'm actually headed to Las Vegas, and I will compete there in the second week of April. Yeah. And then from there, it's just kind of, as funding becomes available, I've got the keys to the reigning world champions car. So when I do compete, I'm in a really good spot, minus my human reaction time and the things I control in the car. The physical machine is one of the best in the industry. So fingers crossed, it'll be a kind of a good combination for me to be successful in my rookie season this year.
Well, I think you will be, because also, like, as we had touched on a little bit, but you've got this background also, and you were, are you from Phoenix? Or you just lived in Phoenix, but you were part of the 1 in 10 organization there as well.
Yeah, born and raised in Phoenix, and was a board member at 1 in 10, which is a LGBTQ youth focused organization that provides housing, school support services, because Arizona is such a conservative state, but Phoenix being a liberal stronghold, it's a place for, there's a lot of disenfranchised youth in the Mormon community. So they provide those services, and I was a volunteer, and then a board member, and then a full-time employee as their director of development. Because I love putting together events, and I love selling a great story. And so when I found a way to do that and to benefit an organization that I love as their kind of chief fundraiser, that's what transitioned me from hotelier world to nonprofit world about 6-7 years ago, which led me then to New York. So I was a foster parent. I had a 7-year-old son, he's still actively in my life. And he and his normal family, after they got their lives kind of a little bit back together, moved here to Manhattan. And I was dating a nice boy who lived in Manhattan. And then I got a job working for President Clinton in Manhattan. So I packed up my Arizona life, and 4 years ago now almost, moved out here to the tiny island of Manhattan, which again makes me the one race car driver who doesn't own a car. People are like, what's your streetcar like? I'm like, it's the 2 train. Sometimes if I'm feeling fancy, it's an Uber, but I'm a carless motorhead.
Well, you said the 2 trade. Yeah. Isn't the Clinton Foundation up in Harlem?
The main office is in Times Square, and then President Clinton's personal office is in Harlem.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I lived in Harlem when I was living in Manhattan, and it was very close to, I'd walk by there every once in a while. So it was very, very close in that area. But between that and now that I'm in Pennsylvania, I look forward to being able to hopefully watch and connect with you someday, because Reading is just down the street from where I live now.
I'm racing Reading for sure. And that's been one of the cool parts about all of this. The Gay and Lesbian kind of Chamber of Greater Philadelphia has been working with me, and we hope to put together a plan of a kind of a coalition of businesses to support me to race that race. So I think that's September 15th. You should mark your calendar. It's happening. So when you look at those 22 races, some I'm filling in, like, check mark, and I'm trying to backfill the rest. But that's one I know is confirmed, and it's technically my home track because that's the closest drag strip to Manhattan. So I'm excited to be out there in the fall with some people, some friendly faces.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'll plan to be there. It would be, and I even know some folks that would probably love to come there as well. So we'll see if we can pull all that together.
Awesome.
So, but no, most importantly, I'm really glad that you were able to take a few moments and just kind of share a bit of your story with our audience here.
Yeah, me too. And thanks for giving me the chance to talk about race cars, something a little different every once in a while. The other type of drag.
I'm with you completely. Well, thanks again and good meeting you here.
Thanks, Matt. Have a great afternoon.
Take care.
So good.